Do you have any thoughts on best practices around what managers and IR professionals should do in between fundraisings?
The most critical part of fundraising is to realize that it is a relationship building exercise. That if you enter a room as a manager and think it is about proving to everyone in the room that you are the smartest person in the room, you've lost the game before you even set a foot on the field. It is in many ways more like a political process where you are building relationships and converting champions in your investors and really bringing them on side, communicating to them your vision, where you see the opportunities, what you're doing with your investments. I think the most important thing is just to be very relationship-oriented and transparent with your investors. I always encourage all of our managers to, usually it's once a summer when things are a bit slower in between the peak annual meeting seasons in the spring and the fall, to go on a summer charm offensive, to see in person each of your existing investors and those that maybe you got close to last time but weren't able to close capital on, and be transparent about what you're seeing, what's exciting, but also with what worries you, and to take that opportunity when you're not making a sale, when you're not focused on an actionable next step and moving to someone into a fundraising process, to really develop the relationship with your investors.
Because they're partners, really, rather than customers.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. And so much of it in private equity is really structural to the product. I mean, a private equity fund is a blind pool where you have 5 years to invest. Usually 10 years or longer in many cases to harvest it. And as a limited partner, you have very little discretion over what a manager is investing in. So there's this blank check aspect. So fundraising is a bit of an inefficient process, and that is purposeful because it's an opportunity for a manager, for a potential investor to spend time together, often many different meetings over months, sometimes years, to develop that relationship that engenders that trust to earn a commitment from that investor.
One of my clients said to me recently that private equity funds aren't sold anymore.
That is a very interesting comment.
Placement agent is a strange term anyway. But it's not sales agent, and never was. It's placement agent.
Right.
So you place a fund, and you could be raising agent, but no, that sounds like something you'd have in the kitchen. But it's
yes,
like,
indeed.
I guess to an extent they were never sold, but it sounds increasingly from what I'm hearing that it's much more relationship driven than.
It really is. I think of it as a bit of matchmaking.
Yeah.
The placement agent field, certainly part of it is that introduction between investor and manager, and that sales process and that relationship building process and all the information that is required. But then we, particularly at Campbell Lutyens, really emphasize both the advisory and execution element of being a placement agent. We sit down with our clients, we discuss specific objectives for the fundraise, we discuss strategic plans, and pay close attention to positioning. Because fundamentally, fundraisings either have momentum or they don't. And we try to orchestrate in every way, in every little trick that we can, a process that is designed to achieve and then retain momentum.
I think in any complex and inefficient domain, you need momentum because to an extent, no one knows what the right answer is. And so there is a logic behind doing what the other guy just did. You have to win over a few key influences. And I guess this goes back to your political process.
Mm-hmm. Particularly for first-time funds, it's the critical question is who are going to be those first closers in your first-time fund? Who are going to be those few investors that take that risk and build conviction early? Do they need to be rewarded in some way for taking that position? And in first-time funds, that's really the challenge. In funds 2s, 3s, and so forth, it's much more about motivating your existing investors, which by and large will be the majority of the first closing of the subsequent fund. At Campbell Lutyens, we are huge believers in process, in deadlines, in that deadlines, when a fair timetable is communicated, we think just helps everyone organize their workflow. And so that's one of the many ways that we find it's not sort of saying, hurry up, this is closing in 2 weeks. It's saying this is going to be the deliberate step-by-step timeline of the different phases of the fundraising process.